I'm gonna start scripting today, okay? Very important class. And I have 4 users. Okay, so now what you could do is you deny the entire network from a specific network, right? What else you could do is you could deny the specific user. Okay, so or what you could do is you could deny the entire network and then allow only specific user from the network.
साहब आखिरी डेट भी डाल दीजिए साहब.
Huh. Thank you. Uh, 09/27/2020. Okay, so here I'm trying to get there, right? It says the host cannot connect. But what I'm gonna do is, oh God, I don't want to do this at this place. But here, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go vi same file sshd.conf. So now what I'm gonna look for is allow users, okay? Allow users. Okay, I don't think it's there. Even if it's there, if it's commented out, we're not worried about it, okay? You type allow users, okay? And give me 1 second here. Hello? जी zahim.rahil@ifnonline.com. At ifnonline.com. नहीं नहीं, फर्स्ट टाइम लॉग इन होना पड़ता उनको. ओके ठीक है. ओके खुदा. Okay, sorry about that. We have a Sunday school starting here at the masjid, so they keep calling me. Okay, so um, so I'm gonna allow users, and I'm gonna give the name Zafar. Okay. Right now, we haven't gone into administration yet, so I will. You know what? Actually, I may have to start administration today. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save and exit. Okay, and so what is this here? I'm gonna copy this here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if the user is there. The user Zafar is not there. Okay, don't worry about this command. I'm gonna start the administration actually today. Add user Zafar, and then I'm gonna do password Zafar. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna restart the systemctl restart SSHD. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try connect. It's not connecting, right? Now I'm going to do is type Zafar at, and it is not doing still. Let me see SSHD hyphen T. Okay. Listen. Allow users Zafar, right? Okay. Let me try one more time. Connect to host, connection failed.
सब कनेक्शन अपन यू कनेक्शन को रिस्ट्रिक्ट करें ना सब पोर्ट
Connection?
नंबर आईपी एड्रेस से अपन उसको वो करें ना
Yeah.
तो वो निकालना पहले शायद मैं सोच
Yeah, let me think. What I was trying to do is just allow one, block the entire IP address
ओके
and block the entire network and allow only one user.
so if you block the entire IP address then that user also will get blocked ना सब
No, that's why we added the exception on the bottom.
ओके
Okay, now it's connecting. And Red Hat. So I'm logged in as Zafar. Right? If I exit here, let me do it in. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because now it's allowing root also. Oh, okay. Yeah. So when you have this here, only one user is allowed.
okay
Okay, let's add the user uh, user one, user add user one, right? And password user one. Okay, now I'm gonna control C. It allowed Zafar, but let's do if it's gonna do user one. So permission is denied. Okay. So what is happening here is you could allow one user, specific user here. You could do that here, but that one should also work too. Which one is the one for the network here? Give me one more try. If not, I'm not going to worry about too much about it. But you guys get the concept here. What we are doing here. Uh, okay. Yeah, actually, it's denying everything here, but that shouldn't be the issue. Okay, I'm gonna try using user one. So the permission is denied for user one, and Zafar is allowed the permission here. Okay, so that is simple. I'm not gonna start scripting here because I've forgotten about the administration. We have to complete administration before we really go into scripting. Okay, so let me clear this. Config restart SSHD. So whenever we are restarting something, we're restarting a service in the background. Okay, we are starting the service in the background here.
That is with the command system CTRL.
Yeah, systemctl is telling to restart the SSHD command.
Okay,
So
just each command we are restarting, not the whole system.
no, only SSHD daemon. I will go into what daemon is in a minute here. Okay.
Okay, okay. Like
Okay.
we were doing init 0 for all the system to restart it. That is not like this.
No, yeah, it's gonna safely restart the system here.
Okay.
Okay, so systemctl restart SSHD, and what is the other one I need to capture is SSHD-T. Okay, and we run this.
T का full form क्या है सर?
We'll see here in a second. So from the remote server, So on from the remote server, okay, from the remote server, you're doing SSH, and since Zafar is allowed, he's able to connect, okay, and okay, so the connection is allowed. How do we know connection is allowed? Because of this. I'll just get the host name here. And then the connection is denied for this guy. Okay, so ZMPT02. Okay, so this is clear, right? So now that leads to the question of daemon. Okay, so now everybody have asked about this, so let me work on daemon. Okay, so in Linux environment, even in Windows here, okay, so Windows, when you have, like, for example, Skype is running, right? You have Skype as an example, you have a Skype in the application here, and what it does is you see all the interface here, but in the background, there is a service running in the background here. Okay, so let me take a look. So these are the application service, and these are the background services supported for. These are the ones you don't even see if the application is running, but these are the services running in the background, regardless if you're using it or not. Some of them I could definitely kill them, but let's see here. So antivirus is running in the background, and all those things here. So, and what else is running in the background here? So okay, so in here it has a good category, Windows processes. Okay, so it's running the registry, the Windows console. All these things are running what is it called? Services. And in services, for services which are running in the background is called daemon. Okay, not demon. Demon means evil. Daemon means angel. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, so I'm gonna type DAEMON. Okay, DAEMON, daemon. And if I hit enter, so it says supernatural being of nature between gods and human. Okay, so daemon. Okay, so it's saying it's a background process that handles requests for service such as print, spooling, all this here. But the but what really daemon is in the plain English, uh, plain English actually it's a guardian angel. Okay, a demon means is actually a demon. Demon. Demon means shaitan, and daemon means angel. Okay, yeah, this one here, daemon is like an angel. You know, it's a good. I mean, all these are. I'm not sure why I'm getting the wrong. Arc. Archaic spelling is demon. Demon, computing task. Okay, anyway, let's work on this here. So, so we'll talk about daemon here. Daemon. Actually, it's pronounced demon, not daemon, but that's how you write it with a. Okay, so uh, okay, so let's see here. So a daemon also known as background process, is a Linux program that runs in background. Okay, almost all daemon have names that ends with letter D. For example, HTTPD, the daemon that handles the Apache server, or SSHD, which handles the SSH service. Linux often start the daemons at boot time. Okay, yeah, this is good enough here. Okay, uh, so I'll say daemon means background services, right? Okay, example compared to Linux or Windows. Okay, in the background it would be Skype, WebEx, and Zoom, TeamViewer. So you all got the idea here. Every application have to have a daemon running in the background and a port associated with it. Okay, we'll talk about the ports in a little bit. So if you do ps-ef, so these are the processes, right? Processes. How did you list all running daemons? ps-eo. Okay, so ps-eo. Yeah, let's run that thing we found online. Okay, right now, these are the things that are running right now. And system D, all these things are running here. The one we were worried about is the one we've been playing around so much is where is it? SSHD. So these are the ones we were running around. This is the process ID. Okay, so I'm gonna even reduce that. Nothing. ps-ef. Give me 1 second here, okay? ppid cmd. Okay, I'm not too much worried about this. So to check the daemons, just run these commands and you will see all the daemons running in the background. Okay, all right, good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the user administration. This is really important, and this is as important as LVM, okay, because you're worried about the permissions and user access and all that in here. Okay, so 09/27/2020, and let's do user administration. Okay, so okay, so I'm gonna get rid of these boxes here. I'm gonna shut this down. We don't need this anymore. And I'm gonna clear this. And let me see what is running. Okay, so we have only one running, right? Good. Okay, so let's start here. So we all know the user root, right? So I'll go over it again. Root is the administrator, or you could call it super user. Okay, and what root can do is uh, so root has root user has highest level of access. Okay, and root user cannot be renamed. Okay, root user cannot be renamed. Okay, and never share the password with anybody. Even the CEO of the company comes and asks you what is the password, because big corporations, they have SOX compliance, right? Even if he's a CEO of the company, he doesn't have access to the system as an administrator. You do. And if he comes down and asks you the password, never give out the password, okay? And don't put in email or anything like that, okay? Don't put in email, chat, or text message, okay? Okay, and what else? And root user will have access to company data. Okay, so when I worked for Apple, they were running Red Hat machines, and I had a root user access, and I have access to everything, all the data you would have access to. So you can't misuse this. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a user. Create a user. Okay, so how do you create a user? I'm gonna say the command is user add, and then I'm gonna give the name Terminator. Okay, he is a bad guy. All right, and So what happens here is user terminator, and the moment I hit enter, a file gets updated. Okay, I'll show you which file gets updated. The file name, um, so okay, here, so the file file slash etc slash password file get updated with the user entry. So let's go and see. Let's cat file etc password. Okay, the file that holds the user information is called password. PASSWD. Don't get confused here, okay? So what happened here is it created the user. So the file that holds the user information is etc fstab, and this file got updated here. If you look, if you do ls-l on the etc fstab file, what happened here is it just got updated. You could see the timestamp when it got updated is 1302, which is matching up here. Oh, okay. I think I have the East Coast. I have the East Coast time set up here. See, East Coast, yeah. It's okay. Why is this automatically set to East Coast? Because Red Hat is in North Carolina. So they already had it set as East Coast time. Okay, so let me break this up. So whenever this the user is created, what happened in the background? You had so many things happen in the background here. 6 things actually happened here. Okay, so the one is so the very first one is terminator. He's the user. Okay, second one is, okay, you don't see the second one, it says is X here, but this part is password here. Okay, so we could get to see the password is set or not, and X is password. This field is password field. Okay, and the third one is the user numerical ID. User ID, it is automatically generated. Okay, but we have an option to change that too, so I'll go over that a little bit later. And the third one is group ID. If you don't specify the user and the group, it will just automatically create one for you. It's for short, it's called GID. Group ID is short for called group ID. And here, this is the home directory. Home directory of the user terminator. What is the home directory for the user root?
Root itself.
Very good. User user home directory. So home directory. When the user logs in, he will jump into this directory automatically. Okay. And then bin bash is the shell type. There will be an option to deny a user the shell. We'll look into that a little later in the course. It's advanced topic. But this is shell directory. Shell type.
Directory.
So the commands we are running, bin, right? Bin is where the commands are running from. So if we go up all the way up to our directory structure, uh, so all the commands we are running is coming from the bin directory, okay? So I haven't seen any other directory other than the bin directory. Okay, good. Now, if you want to get same information here without going in there, so if you want to get like a user ID and all that information, you type ID Terminator, and that information comes out here. The user ID, group ID, and the groups. We're going to talk about groups also. Okay, now watch this closely here because the password is not set here, it's just set as X here, right? So now if you give the user if you give the user to log in, he won't be able to log in because the password is not set yet. So what I'm going to do is set password. Set user password. Okay, to set the password for the user, the command is passwd and then the name of the user. Password Terminator. And hit enter. Changing password for user Terminator. I'm going to give a simple password. Okay, and when you get this message here, all authentications updated successfully, that means it worked. Okay. Okay, so what happened? Which file is holding the password for the user? You could get you could get to see the password too. Okay, no, you can't. You can't see the password. It's actually encrypted. So the password file, etc file that holds the password for users is etc shadow. Okay, so before that, let's go into cat etc password file, and you see here, oh, what is this X for? Okay, so let me clear this. I'm going to go cat etc shadow 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 file. So you see here that the Terminator has this alphanumeric password set here. So from here all the way, okay, let me copy this here.
How to transfer this into the numeric forms? How to transfer this alphanumeric into numeric?
No, you can't. Actually, you can't see it. You can't see the password. It's encrypted. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna break this down what it means here. Okay, so right now, how many I need? I need 6 boxes, right? Okay. So the first one is obviously Terminator is the user. Okay, and this part is the password here. Okay, the one which is starting all the way from here to here. You could see how big this is, the alphanumeric password. This is a password. Okay, so this is the password here. Okay, and this number is the day when the password was created. Okay. Okay, how do we know what day is this today? It's giving us 18,532 days, right? So what is happening is, so why is it 18,532 days? Because that is coming from when the Unix operating system was created. So Unix operating system was created on December 1st, 1936. I'm sorry, 1969. So I'm going to type days since December 31st, 1969, and I'll hit enter, and we get 18,532 days. And that's the number right there, 18,533 days. The Google is showing this is showing the Greenwich Meridian time. I think in England it's already another day, so that's why it's showing 33. Okay, now, so this is what hold on, 27th, right? Okay. So it's actually not counting December 31st, it's counting a day after that. So these are the days since December 31st, 1969. Okay? And then this part here, it says 0. What is 0? 0 means the grace period. You will have, you know how the password expires, and it will tell you have 7 days before the password expires, and it will give you 7 days. So this one, it doesn't have any grace period, so it just expires, it locks you down. Okay, and how many zeros we got? Zeros. So in this situation here, in our system, so how many days is going to expire? Is going to expire after these many days. So system is automatically not putting an expiration date, but you have to set that. Expiration date, you have to set that. Normally expiration date is usually 90 days or 3 months, 60 days or whatever. And then the last part is number 7 here is so the ID will be disabled in days. So after 7 days the ID will be disabled. Why would the ID will be disabled? So after the expiration, the ID will still be active, but user won't be able to log in. You need an administrator to allow the user to No, 7 days. 7 days before the expiration, you will start getting the message that within 7 days your ID will be expiring, and there won't be any grace days before grace period. You know, grace period is actually allowing you a little bit more time to change your password, but there won't be any password here. Grace period, and normally this is set to 60 days. Okay, 60 days. And then the number 7 is the ID will be disabled. Okay, so the user, if the user try to log in and try to change the password, user won't be able to change the password either. So that's what it means. Okay, good. So now let's move to group. Okay, group file. So the group is automatically created, right? So if I go cat/etc/group and hit enter, what happened here is actually this part is check for password. So when the terminator is logged in, if this is X, what terminator the system does is it will check for the password for that, and it's the same thing with the groups. So here what happened when we created the user is created, and we'll check for the password, and then the group for the terminator is 1000. It's a system default. Okay, all right, good. So actually let me break this up here. We have 3 folders. 3 is we have terminator, and we have 1000 and just X, right? So this is a check for password, and this is a group ID, short for GID, and this is what is a group name actually, GRUP. Okay, since we don't have a defined structure, what we have here is the group name is also terminator, and the group ID is 1000. Okay, so yeah, here I think we saw it here. Yeah. So if you do ID terminator, so okay, let's do ID 1000. ID 1000. Okay, it gives you the same information. So let me break this down here. I'm gonna hold on. Um, cat ls group and okay, so here okay, so you type ID terminator, right? You have this here. So I'm gonna go in here about 3. So this part, okay, group ID is a numerical um, UID. UID is user ID. So this part is showing you user ID, and in brackets is saying the user ID belongs to terminator. Okay, user ID 1000, it belongs to the name terminator. User ID 1000 belongs to user terminator. Okay, that's good enough here. Okay, now the group ID terminator belongs to is 1000. Okay, and group is 1002. So GID and group is the same thing. Group of groups user is part of. That should be enough. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to clear this. Now there will be a time when you need to create a user manually here, okay? If you don't need to, if you're creating a user manually, then you could definitely do that. Okay, so where is the user definitions? Where is all this coming from? Okay, so the user definitions and attributes are user definitions and attributes. Okay, so there is a file called vi/etc/logins.def. Okay, and I hit enter. in here, for example, user defaults. Okay, here what you could do is you could change the ID. You don't want this too long here. We want everybody to be changing the password every 60 days, okay? And maximum it will be that long. Minimum is 0 days, and password minimum length. Okay, minimum length of the password is 5 digits, five letters or alphanumeric numbers. And then the password warning age is 7. 7 days from now, if the password is going to expire in 5 days, it will tell you that password is expiring in, it will start warning you 7 days from that. Okay, and this is where the minimum value of ID. So this is where the ID is coming from. Okay, this is where you're going to define the ID. So over here I'm going to define the ID starting from not 1000, let's do 2000. Okay, so the next ID we'll create, it will start issuing it from 2000s. System account, so it could hold up to 1000 accounts here. Okay, and so user ID, so what we could do is we could do group ID is 3000. Okay, so next time it will start using the user ID with 2000 and group ID with 3000. And user ID should create home directories. Okay, if you want to create a home directories or not, you could do that. And here's the permission for the home directories. Okay, I'm not going to go in there now because you're going to get confused. And yeah, that should be it. So what did we change here? We changed the we changed it to 3000s. Okay, GID we changed it to 3000s, and user ID we changed it to 2000s, and the password maximum days and all this is this.
सर ग्रुप के बारे में थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन करिए सर.
क्या चीज?
Group is the group is must.
Yes.
What is why the group is created and what is the reason?
That is a very good question, but I have to wait for it because there is a lot more information coming about each user and each group. So what happens is, group is you create a user and you give the permission to each user, right?
Yep.
What if you have a 10,000 users? If you have a 10,000 users, you're not going to give permission to 10,000 users. What you're going to do is you're going to create a big group, a single group, and you add 10,000 users to the group, and you give permission to the group, and whoever is in that group gets, for example, if they need to get into the door, a specific door, okay, if you're part of that group, you have access. If you're not part of that group, you don't have access. So group is important here. There is a lot more coming here. Actually, there is we're going to spend good half hour on the groups, how groups work. So let me exit out of here. So this is the file where the attributes are defined. So these, I think these are self-explanatory here. So if I go ahead and create a user here, add user, okay, I'm gonna add the user xmen, okay, and hit enter. And if I type id xmen, you should see it's starting with 2000 and group id is 2000, and then the groups it belongs to is 2000. Groups and group id is same thing. And then most of the time it will give you the group name is same as that, but you could definitely change that here. So we'll look into how we change this part when we do groups. So this has changed, this has changed, and this has changed. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I created the user, right? What I'm going to do is instead of assigning the user, um, what will happen is in application scenario, sometimes the application is automatically, how do I explain this here? Um, Let me see if I could find something. Okay, let's forget it. So let's do this here. So what happened is Xmin is the user and Terminator is the user, two users. So application team, they want, they already have the password built into their code. Okay, so they don't want to change the password. They want to use the same password as Terminator. So you will get a request that says, okay, set the password as same as Terminator for X-Men. Okay, so how are you gonna do that? Yeah, this is where you're playing around with password, guys. So this is where the root password is very important. Okay, I mean to protect the root password. So you go into the password file VIETC password file, okay, and you hit enter. You go all the way on the bottom here. You see that the Terminator and all this, both of them requires the password. So quit this. So what you have to do is you go to VI etc. Let me actually go in there and copy.
That's
Okay, I'm sorry, what?
Papaya.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, you have a question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Screen lock.
Anybody else is having a problem?
अभी तो नहीं दिख रहा था, अभी तक तो चल रहा ठीक.
Okay, good. Okay, so you got a request. Uh, Now what we're gonna do is you got a request to assigning the same password as other user. Okay, so you don't know the password, but the person who is requesting the password, they know the password. So what you have to do is you have to go into shadow file, shado shado so you go into shadow file here, right? And I'm going to go down here and see how you see this after a colon. uh, so this part here, two exclamations, there's been password is not set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this part here. Okay, I'm copied. Now I'm going to go in here. I'm going to delete this. Okay. Uh, no. And then I copied it, and then I'm going to right click here. So I copied everything for this user here. So all this alphanumeric number I copied here, okay? And 000. Okay, and so okay, yeah, it says 60 here, right? Remember, we changed the user password to 60 days. That's what this is coming from. Okay, everything else looks good to me. Zero 60. Yeah. I'm gonna save and exit. Okay, so I'm gonna write WQ. Okay, it says written, and I'm gonna exit. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log in as X-Men, and then I'm gonna give the password for Terminator. Okay, there you go. I'm logged in as X-Men. All right, guys. So I showed you the most. So don't misuse this, okay? Because somebody's gonna come down. There's all the big organizations. They have somebody called spies. They have spies within the organization. They call info security, infosec. And there's another group, white hats. They're called white hats. They'll be watching all these things, and I mean, if you don't have a request, don't do it. If you have a request, just make sure you're doing it and it's approved and all that. Okay, so You copied here these two things here, and I'm gonna put it down here that you copied. Okay, good. Now you logged into another terminal and log in as okay. All right, let me exit here. Okay, so now what happened now is, so you have did the assign the password, um, assign the same password using shadow file. So now what else you could do is you could clear this, and also you could go into groups file, vi etc group. Okay, and you could have the group definition in here, right? So let's create a user manually. Okay, let's create a user manually. Okay, so I'm gonna quit this. Create user manually. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is vi/etc password file, because when you create a user, it updates the password file here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this line, yy paste. Okay, and here I'm going to give the name, instead of X-Men, I'm going to give everybody's okay with Spider-Man. Okay, I'm giving the name Spider-Man, and then I'm manually assigning the Spider-Man ID here. Okay, I could assign anything between the 2,000 to 60,000. So I'm gonna assign the ID 6666. Okay, and the group, I feel like it. Whatever I want to add it here. I'm going to add a group is 7077. Let me just make this 6066. Okay, and then the home directory. What is the home directory I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a Spider-Man here. I'm going to give it the same name. Okay, and I'm allowing him bin bash. Okay, so let's do that. Why would you be doing here? Because sometimes the application is already written and they say like, okay, we can't mess around with the application. Can we just try to use the username? Okay, so that's when you do this. Okay, so the create user manually. So edit /etc password file. Okay, then what we're gonna do is um, create user manually, right? Okay, yeah, I don't need that. And uh, add password. Okay, so for that you have to go into vi/etc/shadow file. Okay, so let's go ahead and create go into the shadow file. I'll hit enter. So in here we don't have any information here, right? So I'm gonna copy the same information as X-Men. I'm gonna paste it here, and I'm gonna go into here, and then I'm gonna give the name Spider-Man. So Spider-Man is gonna use the same password, and then the file is gonna expire at the same time and all that over here. Okay, so I didn't have to do much here. So I'm gonna save W exclamation and X. Okay, so copy X-Men to Spider-Man. I don't have, that's good enough, right? So now what I'm gonna do is so if I do ID Spider-Man, so the ID is UID, GID, and groups get updated here. So but we have to edit the group also. So I'm gonna go VI etc groups. Okay, and before that, let me copy this.
So, but the password for both X-Men and Spider-Man is same.
Yes,
We can change the passwords.
they can change the password if they do. If they wanted to change the password, they could change the password.
Manually?
I'm sorry?
Manually also we can change here?
Yes. Yes. Once you log in, you could change it.
Okay.
Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is so yeah, I'm gonna copy X-Men YYP and Spider-Man, and the group is gonna be 7077. Alright, that's the group we added here. Okay, so I'm gonna save and exit. So if you do ID Spider-Man, you have the UID is 6066, the one we gave it manually. The group ID is 7077, and the group it belongs to is 7077. In fact, let's change the group name to superhero and see what happens. So now the group ID and group ID is just the number here, and it's showing a group name also. This is so confusing here. Group ID and group name is same thing, okay? It should be group ID. It shouldn't have this in the brackets here or the parentheses, and it shouldn't have 7077 here. This is the group name and this is the group ID. That's all it's supposed to be. Okay, so if you do ID Spider-Man, that's all you get it. Okay. So edit group. Okay, now log in. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna log in as a user here, okay? So since we are doing it everything manually, the user home directory is not there. We only said the user home directory is there, but we haven't created one. So if you go cd home and you do ls here, you see only Terminator and X-Men. You don't see the home directory for Spider-Man. So what you do is mkdir Spider-Man. Okay, now let me do ls-l. So the permissions are, so don't worry about this here. So I'll change the mode here, ch mod ch own Spider-Man. We'll go over this here. Don't worry about this at this moment. Invalid group Spider-Man. Oh yeah. See, it's catching that up now. The group should be Superman, superhero, right? Okay. Create the user, create home directory. I'm gonna show you what I did in a minute here, a little later on. Okay, now Now let's log in. Let's log into the user here.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yes. So I'm gonna use Spider-Man, and the password is the one I'm gonna use from X-Men. Okay. Now look at here. This looks awkward here, right? It just said bash all this here, so we're gonna have to fix that. So this looks awkward here because the user, if you do ls here, the user doesn't have any default directories here. ls-a. So the user is missing the default directories. So if you go into like cd terminator, there are some hidden files which are it creates the profile for you. So that is missing here. Over here it's missing the profile. Actually, let's put it here. It's missing the profile here.
It means if we create manually, we have to update many places and it misses the profiles too.
Yeah, profile needs to be created manually.
Created. दो तीन जगह update करना पड़ा directly.
Yeah.
Tedious process.
Yeah. That's when the scripting comes in. We're gonna go deep into scripting, and hopefully I'll start it tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow. Today's Sunday, right? Yeah, next week. I was gonna do it now, but I've forgotten about how I missed the administration, because this is a really big topic actually.
This is
Probably.
important to creation of user. Important.
Yeah.
हम नया तो यूजर बना के नहीं दे सकते बोले तो फिर घर पे जाते हैं।
Yeah. So now the user is missing default profile. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy user's default. Usually when it creates it, it runs through and copies it from the scale directory here. So which directory has the default profile? So here now copy copy default profile from scale directory. Okay, I'll go, there is a directory called cd/etc/scale. And if I do ls-l, okay, la. So we need to copy all these three directories in there. Bash all these three directories, okay, to the user home directory. So how am I going to do that? cp.b and asterisk. That means copy any file that's starting with dot and b. And then where am I copying it to? I'm copying to home, and I'm copying to Spider-Man. Okay. All right, let's go to cd home Spider-Man. you do ls-la, and you see this here. All right, so let me copy in here. Okay, so cd to scale directory, and this was unnecessary, and you copied it to Spider-Man directory, and you went into the Spider-Man. Okay, and you're there. Okay, so now, okay, so you go cd cd/home/terminator. Okay, so now what we're gonna have to do is here we have to give the these users the ownership here. Okay, so I'm gonna do cd/home/spiderman. You do ls-la. So what you have to do is you have to give the ownership to these 3 directories here. Okay, so chown. Okay, and
CH1 है, CH1 है सब.
chown. So what I'm going to do is chown. So it's the same command here. And then I'm going to give superhero Spider-Man chown-r. I'm going to give recursively everything inside that directory. So if I go into Spider-Man, if I do ls-la, you see that superhero has the full access to the directory here. Okay, good. So this is good information.
What is the difference between the two? To कैसे find out करना था?
जी,
दोनों में full accessible है, कैसे मालूम हो रहा आपने को?
यहाँ देखो, ये जो है ना, ये 3 फाइल जो है इसको रूट है यूजर, राइट?
Oh, right.
हाँ, अभी आया ना मैं, these are interdependent. Yeah, so
ये रूट से ज्यादा पावरफुल है साहब, ये ओन
नहीं, रूट एज अ रूट कर रहे हैं. यहाँ देखो, ये रूट यूजर है, तो chown सिर्फ कमांड है.
नहीं, ये जो अपन ऑथराइजेशन दिए ना, ये स्पाइडरमैन सुपर हीरो का
सिर्फ रूट ही कर सकता है ये काम, दूसरा कोई नहीं कर सकता.
मगर ये रूट से पावरफुल तो नहीं है ना, रूट से कमी है
नो
ना सब इसका.
नो, कमी है. उसको घर में घुसने परमिशन होना ना, तो वो दिए हम उसको.
अच्छा.
ओके, ठीक है. तो So what we have changed here is this, the permissions. Okay, so let's go ahead and log in here. You see how ugly this is? So now I'm gonna open another channel here, another window. I'm gonna log in as Spider-Man. Password. And now he has some dignity here. It looks Spider-Man here and all this here, okay? So one other thing before I quit for today. So let me do CD and CD. Okay. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to copy this here. In here, what is the difference between these two? Can you tell me? Anybody, do you notice anything in here?
सब एक जो है ना रूट यूजर है, एक जो है ना होम यूजर है, होम डायरेक्टरी यूजर है।
यहाँ पर उसमें फर्क क्या दिख रहा? कुछ दिख रहा?
बराबर दिख रहा है सब यहाँ पे।
I could see it.
हमारा वो ओवरलैप हो जा रहा थोड़ा सा वो फाइल्स।
Okay, here's the difference. You see the root user has a pound and the regular user has a dollar sign.
अच्छा ये वो हमारे को तो दिख रहा ही नहीं था वो।
Now you know. Next time if you're just looking at somebody's computer, you could say if he's logged in as user or root.
Oh.
So it has hash.
It has a user sign as.
And then the user login.
वो आपके एमएस वर्ड की फाइल ओवरलैप हो जा रही है, उस पर हमारे को नहीं दिख रहा वो।
यहाँ तो मैं पूरा विंडो फुल स्क्रीन शेयर करूँ ना?
नहीं, वो एक विंडो के ऊपर दूसरी फाइल ओवरलैप हो गई।
ये
अब बराबर दिख रहा।
हाँ।
अब दिख रहा, अब हटाओ।
अच्छा, यहाँ देखो, यहाँ डॉलर साइन है,
डॉलर साइन है, यहाँ हैश, राइट।
Okay, chal. Okay, I'm gonna end here today and then upload the video, and we'll move forward here. Okay, so any questions, put it in the chat.